and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that's recording this episode from inside an abandoned railroad car. It's Bryce.
How's it going? That was the railroad car that hobo from Purdue was sleeping in?
Yeah, that's right. Cuba Gooding Jr., by giving him that jacket, murdered him.
Yes, he murdered him on purpose.
Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page of that. Because when I was watching it, I'm like, man, that guy just got murdered because of the jacket switch. Yeah. So did you give up your watch and wallet and cell phone already? Or do you have anything left in this train car of yours?
I have some empty cans of beer, which are probably adding to the echo effect.
Well, listen, man, I'm just really honored that you would be recording this episode while being chased by a gang of hoods, led by Dennis Leary.
To be honest, it was my own fault. I do that thing we do in life where we make a decision and, like, you start to contemplate, did I just Judgment Night myself?
I like that that's become a thing.
Yeah.
So I
mean,
sorry. Go
everybody does it. Everybody thinks about this movie all the time, so they're always questioning if they Judgment Nighted themselves or not.
You know, and sometimes I Judgment Night myself on things that aren't even that big. So the other day I got a coffee, and I'm like, I think I just Judgment Nighted myself by getting almond milk and not coconut.
Yeah, probably.
So I was looking through the 1993 action films at the time, and this movie is a true outlier in 93, I would say, because we had Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, Falling Down.
Last Action Hero?
Yeah, Last Action Hero, Fugitive, so Nowhere to Run. So you had, what I like is you have Cliffhanger, Sylvester Stallone murdering people. Demolition Man, Sylvester Stallone destroying people. Falling Down, Michael Douglas just, I don't know, losing it. And then, really being preachy. You have Fugitive. You have Harrison Ford being super capable. Nowhere to Run, Jean-Claude Van Damme murdering people. Last Action Hero, spoof on the genre, but still, a lot of people didn't get it. In the Line of Fire, Clint Eastwood being super capable. Tombstone, Kurt Russell being super capable. Then you also have, Point of No Return. That was a remake, and, Three Musketeers. And then you had Judgment Night, where Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Stephen Dorff, and Jeremy Piven are just running the entire time and scared.
They're running away.
Yeah, they're running away. And it's a nice balance, I guess, compared to the rest of the 93 action films. This is a movie where these four suburban guys are trying to man up the entire time, but they're woefully out of their league. And it's just, the more you watch it, I think the more interesting it becomes. And is that why you recommended it to me?
For sure. I don't know. It's just one of those movies that's always stuck in my head from the youth. Big fan of the movie, and I was a big fan of the soundtrack. I was 12 or 13 years old.
Oh.
I was just always into it.
I mean, that's a perfect time to listen to this. I mean, so I was reading a lot of articles about this and Consequence of Sound, Rolling Stone, various articles. They're talking, do you think what's kept this movie alive is the soundtrack? I mean, this thing went platinum. It has some pretty good, some bangers on the soundtrack. They mixed it up really well. Do you think that's one of the reasons why this, I think that's why people still talk about Judgment Night mostly is because of love of the soundtrack.
Probably, but it's also it's one of Emilio Estevez's last movies. Mm-hmm. And, that's early on the Piven train. Wonder how long he thought that would last. And also, Dennis Leary was a pretty big star back then. Mm-hmm. He kind of just hit it, and then he made 10 movies between 3 years, and then he also did a fizzle. I mean,
yeah, it kind of went to TV, right? He did Rescue Me.
Yeah.
I remember him and The Ref. They were really trying to make. So I have a question, and I guess you're right though. If you're sitting at home and you're watching Showtime and you see this cast, you're gonna be like, and you're our age, I guess, you're gonna be like, what is this? I gotta watch this movie. So I dig that, but okay. I think the most believable henchman in this group was Everlast. Just his look, right?
Yeah, he's the only one that looks like a henchman. There's the guy, whose name I can never remember.
Oh, Peter Green as Sykes.
Peter Green, yeah. He's obviously played a bad guy before.
Yeah, he was in The Mask and a few other movies. And you know what I like, though, about this movie, too, man? Peter Green is an excellent second in command. I don't know. I like a good side henchman, like Mr. Joshua, Lethal Weapon, Commander Cleef from Under Siege, Mad Dog, The Raid, Bennett Commando, Xenia Onatopp, Goldeneye, Go-Go from Kill Bill, Pick Van Cleef from Hard Target, Arnold Vosloo. I just think action movies work better when there's the legit sidekick. to the henchmen. Do you feel the same?
Oh, for sure. And, especially like Lethal Weapons case, sometimes I like it when the side henchman ends up being the kind of main bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an excellent fight there at the end between Riggs and Joshua. Oh, yeah. I dig it. Yeah, I mean, Richard Donner shot the heck out of that. But no, okay.
Not as much of an excellent fight at the end of this movie.
No. Okay. What do you think about the final fight in Judgment Night? It's fun, I guess. What Judgment Night has blessed us with is a final fight between Dennis Leary and Emilio Estevez. It's kind of beautiful.
It is, and it's in some kind of discount store / warehouse / grocery store.
Yeah, it's cavernous.
Yeah, but it's also very crowded at times. Yeah. And there appears to only be one bathroom.
And there's all these fresh tomatoes in there. It's an interesting fight. And okay, let's say you're an action movie hero, Bryce. How much would you love to fight in that place? I'd just be knocking over shelves. I would be just destroying everything. I'd enjoy fighting in that place, I think.
It's very much a kind of precursor to those rage rooms, rage cages that they have these days, that you can pay to bust up.
Wait, there's rage cages?
I think so. I've seen them on reality shows.
Wow. That scene in Zombieland where they destroy that shop? It just looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
When I worked comic conventions for years, my buddy Dave and I always just said we wanted to have a Family Guy or They Live style fight in the convention hall and just Godzilla the entire place. Oh, that'd be so much fun. But no, I dig the final fight. And also, the more I watch it, the more you become intrigued with these guys kind of talking about, like, manning up. It's an interesting... You know what I like, too, is I like when our supposed heroes are just incredibly out of their league. And these guys, they all think they're tough, right? I mean, this is like Emilio Estevez's character from The Breakfast Club, grown up. And I like how out of their league they are, but then they keep yelling at each other about manning up and freezing. If you and I get Judgment Night, who knows what we're going to do? I mean, it's such a tough... I guess another thing I like about this movie is you're sitting there going, I wouldn't do that, but then you're like, wait, would I? Wait, I've never been chased by Dennis Leary with a gun, so who knows what I'd do? So I think it does raise some pretty cool questions.
Yeah, that whole thing, he's the kid from Breakfast Club grown up. I mean, I didn't even think of it before. Being that it's his second most famous role, I think.
Yeah. Oh, you think this is the second most famous?
No.
Breakfast Club. Oh, no, Billy the Kid, right? Do you think Billy the Kid's is most famous or Mighty Ducks?
Ooh, now you got me thinking. Maybe we'll have to do... No, I don't want to do an Estevez squad. Okay. Maybe. But no, maybe the kid from Breakfast Club grew up, and that's Frank, Estevez's character. And they keep, driving home this point. Man, Frank, you're just not like you used to be, man. Where's that old Frank? They keep poking him.
You know what's interesting, too, is they don't really try to even make you like these characters in the beginning. So Emilio has been like, I've been stuck in my house for 3 months. And his wife says, yeah, me too. And she's, they try to maybe paint her a little bit as the villain. And then he's trying to give her grief. And then you have Cuba, who's just super, aggressive, loud.
He's hitting on a teenager as soon as he pulls up.
Oh, yeah. And he's the kind of guy who's like, I scored 4 touchdowns in high school in 1 game. You have Dorf, who's like all bark, no bite. And then Jeremy Piven, who's just slimy. And I kind of dig that, though. Like, these are our protagonists, and they aren't really trying to make us like them. That's another interesting choice, I thought, by Stephen Hopkins in here. And I know 40 people wrote this. Lewis Colick was credited, but I don't know, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Do you think he tried to make a movie with unlikable characters on purpose?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, these are supposed to be our protagonists, and they're not like Walter White from Breaking Bad or Tony Soprano that you're like, I love these guys, but they're horrible. Like, these are supposed to be we're supposed to like them, and like John McClane, right? We loved him right off the bat. But these guys are, I don't know, they're really not lovable. Is that a mistake?
I'm changing perspectives constantly in this conversation. Because I would argue on the other side, like, the criminals I love.
Yeah.
They're a good time. Dennis Leary's a good time. He's hanging out. Yeah, he's killing people, but it's a good time.
He gets the speeches. He's calling people cockroaches, and I like when Jeremy Piven tries to sell him, and then Jeremy Piven immediately realizes that he's out of his league. That conversation swings.
We got to dedicate some time to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you want to read it out? Do you want to try to copy it? Do you want to reenact it for me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't memorize this by heart. I do not have the screenplay in front of me.
Oh man, he does make a good point. He's like, you guys just drive all over us.
Drive all over us. You sit there and your house is in the suburbs. You're 10 miles away.
This movie makes some pointed references towards, they shot in downtown Chicago. They had a lot of interesting things going on down there. Somebody got shot in the head. They had interesting time shooting. They realized they weren't as tough as they thought. But I guess, do you think this movie tries to make some comments like, yeah, we drive over this and ignore it, and then no one comes down to that area when the cops are called? It's basically forgotten. It's basically they frame it as this weird sort of wasteland of an area where nobody goes and people are always running. There's a little bit of social commentary in there, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Your episode last week about the Candyman, you guys talked about that, the kind of white fear that people have around Chicago to go anywhere near the real part of the city.
Yeah, exactly. They, we're in a bad spot. Oh man, we're in a bad spot of town. And Hopkins even thought about that. He directed Predator 2 as well, and he said on that set he had the Crips guarding his set. He's like, yeah, these overpasses were built so you can drive over these areas that quote unquote you think are scary. So it's, I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting that these four really, there's some, it tries, I would say it tries a lot more than Demolition Man to make some social commentary.
It tries. I will say that he did have good foresight to make the antagonist, and as we all know in Chicago, we have all those Irish gangs roving around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the president is most concerned about.
Yeah, they have
when he always brings up Chicago, he's always like, oh, all those Irish gangs.
Yeah, driving on their green vans. But you think it was a smart idea to make them like an Irish kind of gang in Chicago?
I do. I think that was a good move.
How bad? Yeah, oh gosh.
I bet that wasn't in the first draft. What do you think? Am I just looking too much into that, or?
I guess by casting Dennis Leary as the villain in downtown Chicago with the Irish gang, I don't even know if they are Irish. Leary, I guess, Dennis Leary. I mean, listen, you got to do it, right? You don't have to do it, but at least it shows some thought in '93. And the director said, like, the first scripts, there were motorcycle chases on buildings and there was a lot of rape. And yeah, it's like, it was, they said this movie was what? The Warriors meets Deliverance. Yeah. And I don't know. I think the way they handled it was, for '93, I think it was fine. I think no one really comments on that, I guess. I mean, some articles have, like, that they at least made a stab at that. So, I mean, when they get to the apartment complexes, the residents there, there are people that are all bad in this, I guess. Actually, our heroes come downtown and actually make, because of their boneheaded mistake, not boneheaded, I guess when you have a gun pointed at your head, you can't really call them mistakes. But they're the ones that raise all the trouble in this area. They get people shot, they get apartment complexes broken into. Yeah, they're the ones, I guess they're the trouble, I guess. And I guess, this is weird, but I kept wondering why they didn't just keep running. Just run. Like, pull a clear and present danger and just always run. But then I thought, Mark, you're not in that great a shape, and you've never been chased by 4 gunmen. So, I guess you can't fault their decisions in this movie, do you?
Well, they could have ran from the get-go. Analyzing it, Leary and his gang, they're rolling around. Okay, they're rolling around in, like, this Cadillac or with a V8 engine. So you can hear where his car is.